You're the only player on the field whose job is to give up. While everyone else fights for first downs and touchdowns, you come in when your team has failed. You're the surrender flag made human. Your moment of glory comes when your offense can't get the job done, and somehow you're expected to be perfect under the pressure of disappointment, knowing that one bad punt can flip field position and lose games. You don't get to be a hero, you just get blamed when things go wrong. High school is where you discover your weird talent. You're a backup quarterback or linebacker who happens to have a cannon for a leg. During a blowout game, your coach puts you into punt, and you boom a 65-yarder that pins the other team at their 5-yard line. Suddenly, everyone's paying attention. You develop your craft obsessively, perfecting your drop, your steps, your follow-through, learning to punt left, right, and down the middle, mastering the coffin corner kick that dies at the 2-yard line. By senior year, you're averaging 44 yards per punt with an all-state selection. You choose a major SEC program that promises to develop your NFL potential. Freshman year, you're immediately competing for the starting job. Your punts are booming 50-plus yards regularly, and you're pinning opponents deep consistently. By sophomore year, you're setting school records. Junior year is when you realize you're elite. You average 42 yards per punt for the entire season in the SEC. Numbers that put you in contention for the Ray Guy Award as college football's best punter. You have only 2 punts blocked in 3 seasons. Senior year, you're a consensus All-American and Ray Guy Award finalist. You've mastered every type of punt, the coffin corner, the pooch punt, the line drive into the wind. NFL scouts are calling you a field position weapon and projecting you as a potential mid-round draft pick. Draft day arrives, and you're cautiously optimistic. Punters have been selected as high as the first round before, and your college numbers justify selection. You're not just a punter, you're a specialist who can change games with your leg. Rounds 1 through 6 pass without your name being called. Finally, in round 7, you hear your name called. Not ideal, but you're in. The team that drafts you is rebuilding and sees special teams as a crucial part of field position battles. The contract is small, 7th round money with minimal guarantees, but you're not worried. Great punters have long careers and eventually get paid. You just need to prove you belong. Training camp is your first taste of NFL pressure. Every punt matters. The coaches are timing your hang time, measuring your distance, charting your accuracy. 1 bad day of practice can plant doubt. 2 bad days can get you cut before you ever see the field. Preseason games are your showcase, but they're also your nightmare. NFL punt coverage is faster and more violent than college. The punt rushers are legitimate pass rushers who can close ground in 1.5 seconds. You have to get the ball off quicker while maintaining distance and accuracy. Your first punt gets partially blocked. Not completely, it still goes 32 yards, but the rush got closer than it should have. The coaching staff exchanges glances. You know you need to be better. Game 2, you bounce back with a 55-yarder that pins the opponent at their 8-yard line. Game 3, you shank 128 yards and it goes out of bounds at the 45. Inconsistency is death for punters. You're either reliable or you're replaceable. You win the starting job and finish your rookie season with respectable numbers. 44 yards per punt, 38% inside the 20-yard line, only 1 blocked. Not spectacular, but solid enough to keep your job. Years 2 through 5 are about establishing yourself as one of the league's elite punters. You're averaging 46+ yards per punt consistently and placing 40% of your kicks inside the 20-yard line. You make your first Pro Bowl as an alternate, then earn your first full selection. But here's the thing about being a punter. Your best work is often invisible. When you pin teams inside the 10-yard line, nobody notices until the other team goes 3 and out and gives your offense great field position. When you boom a 60-yarder in bad weather, it gets mentioned once and forgotten. The pressure is constant and unique. You only get 4 to 6 opportunities per game, and each one matters enormously. A 35-yard shank in the 4th quarter can put the opponent in field goal range. A blocked punt for a touchdown can decide games instantly. You develop elaborate pre-punt routines. Count your steps back from the line, check the rush lanes, feel the wind, signal to your coverage team, catch the snap, 2 steps, punt. Pray it doesn't get blocked, doesn't get shanked, doesn't get returned for a touchdown. Year 6 becomes your breakout season. You lead the NFL in net punting average, placing 45% of your punts inside the 20-yard line. You make the Pro Bowl and earn All-Pro honors. Most importantly, you're becoming known as one of the most accurate punters in the league. Your career numbers start looking historic. You're averaging 47.4 gross yards per punt across your career, the 6th highest in NFL history. Your net average of 43.5 yards per punt is the highest in NFL history since they started tracking the statistic. Teams start game planning around your leg. They know that when they face your squad, field position battles will be crucial. You're not just punting anymore, you're controlling where drives start and how games flow. The recognition finally comes. Your team makes you the highest paid punter in the league with a 4-year, $16 million extension. $4 million per year to punt a football 4 to 6 times per game. You've reached the pinnacle of your profession. But even at the top of your profession, the reality hits hard. You're the highest paid punter in history, but you make less in 4 years than a decent linebacker makes in 1. Your position is so specialized that only 32 people in the world can do what you do at the highest level, but you're still viewed as just a punter. Your amazing season, leading the league in net average, making the Pro Bowl, earning All-Pro honors, gets reduced to a footnote in your team's season recap. The quarterback who threw 15 interceptions gets more attention than the punter who had a historically great year. You realize that even perfect punting is expected, not celebrated. When you place a ball at the 2-yard line, the credit goes to your coverage team. When you boom a 60-yarder into the wind, it gets mentioned once and forgotten. But when you shank one 28 yards, it gets replayed on every highlight reel. The physical toll accumulates differently than other positions. You're not getting hit regularly, but you're performing the same motion hundreds of times per week. Your plant leg aches. Your hip flexors are tight. Your back spasms from the repetitive stress of kicking. You're now in your 8th season with the best punting statistics in NFL history. Your net average is a record that may never be broken. You've been named to multiple Pro Bowls and earned All-Pro recognition. You're the highest paid punter in the league. But you're still the surrenderer flag. Still the player who comes in when your team fails. Still the specialist who gets blamed when things go wrong and ignored when things go right. The most thankless job in the most thankless unit in America's most popular sport. You come in when your team fails, and somehow you're expected to be perfect in the moments when perfection matters most. The loneliest position on the field, performing the most pressure-packed skill in football, for an audience that only remembers your failures and forgets your masterpieces. Even when you're the best who's ever done it, you're still just a guy who gives up. When you were great, nobody noticed. When you were historic, nobody cared. When you were perfect, it was expected. That's why it sucks to be an NFL punter. You're only as good as your worst kick, and your worst kick is the only one anyone remembers. Even if you're the best in history, but if you think that sucks, then you should see what happens when your job is to return punts and kicks. The return specialist.